way love shows up in our life is infinite possibilities. How we choose, how we would like that love to show up in our lives. You know, most of us would agree that the God which created the universe, which created the galaxies and the earth and its diverse and amazing creatures, is a God of infinite possibilities. Is that right? Everybody could pretty much grasp that. And most of us would probably agree that in God all things are possible. We can grasp that concept. We can say, yes, in God all things are possible. But how do we bring that into our lives? How do we experience infinite possibilities? And how do we experience God as me? God as me, the infinite possibilities within me, showing up in my life. It's interesting, isn't it? We claim that for this God, but we know God is not up there or out there. We know God is all that there is, so God is who and what I am. And therefore, somehow we have to make those statements personal to us, that the infinite possibilities that are available as God are the same infinite possibilities that are available in me, to my life, for me to experience, for me to create. You know, I've been studying Metaphysical Bible and a lot of the New Testament right now. And I'm going to talk a little, use a phrase that Jesus uses a lot. The kingdom of heaven is like. The kingdom of heaven is like a giant gourmet kitchen. Imagine yourself in the kitchen of your dreams, whatever that would look like. If you like those white shaker cabinets and those glass tiles on the backsplash, if you like a rustic look, if you like those dark brown cabinets, imagine the kitchen of your dreams, and it's big. It's big. It's so big that you know you can't walk around it. So it's got the magic of, let's say, you know, Harry Potter. Like every time you reach into a cabinet, what you want is in that cabinet. So you only have to take a few steps. This is the most incredible kitchen you could ever imagine. Just picture the granite countertops or those wood, what are those wood countertops called, you know? What is it? Butcher block, thank you. Butcher block countertops, whatever your style is. Just imagine that gourmet chef's kitchen, and you're in there. And in this kitchen, it is stocked with every ingredient you can imagine. It's stocked with every spice. Those ghost peppers that are the hottest pepper on the planet. It's spiced with, every spice, foreign and exotic, and it's stocked with things that you can't even imagine because you don't even know what they are yet. It's stocked with every protein, every grain, everything you could and couldn't even imagine. It's stocked not only with food, right? So it's got all these foods. It's got refrigerators, it's got gardens. You know, we're gonna have to imagine that you open a cabinet, it's a garden, you can pick a carrot or something out of that cabinet. I don't know, we'll figure that one out. Maybe it's a window, okay? And we can grab whatever fruit, whatever vegetable. Not only does it have that, it has every pot you can imagine. And not only that, it has every way to cook. Gas, radiant heat, microwave, barbecue, one of those eggs that smoke things and it looks like a giant green egg. I think that's what it's called, a giant green egg. Okay, so you're in this kitchen and you are the chef. And the kingdom of heaven is like this giant gourmet kitchen, and you get to create. You get to pick your ingredients. What are you going to create? You choose from infinite possibility. Some of us are going to create something really light and fluffy, a big souffle, you know, full of air, full of magic. It's wonderful. It rises like, 4 times the size of when you poured it into that pan. Some of us are going to want something really with some substance, something we can sink our teeth into. But we get to create all the time. And once in a while we make a mistake. Sometimes I'm going to make this key lime pie and I'm going to think, some bouillon. That's what I want. I'm really working on some bouillon. I just got that craving, that warm chicken soup flavor. Throw that into my key lime pie. What was I thinking? that sucker is going into the trash. And guess what? We have all kinds of trash in this gourmet kitchen of our dreams. We're chucking that. We're getting rid of that. So we are the chefs in our kitchen. We get to choose from infinite possibilities. We get to create day to day, week to week, year to year what we want. But if we believe that we're looking at this kitchen and all that it has in it is what we were born with. That's all that it has in it, is what we've experienced yesterday. It only has those ingredients. It only has those few things. And you think, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to make what I've always made because it's okay. And I'm not hungry. I can eat that again. I can do that again, even though it's not my favorite thing. We don't even open the cabinets. We don't even imagine what could be in there. We are the chefs. We get to create. We get to choose. And when we don't like what we've created, we get to toss it and start again. But sometimes we really get stuck in what is right in front of us. And that's the only, we think we're limited to that. But we're in this infinite field of possibilities. We can choose anything. When we believe that we are separate, we are separate. When we believe that we are limited, we can only see what is right in front of us. But we are not bound by our education. We're not bound by what we experience, the successes that we experience, or the failures that we have experienced. We're not bound by the relationships that didn't work out. We're not bound by what happened to us when we were 5 or 15 or 50. None of that has any relativity as we stand in this magnificent kitchen with infinite possibilities. As long as we can see ourselves consciously aware that we get to choose every minute of every day the next thing that we want to experience. And the way we choose here in our tradition is we create an affirmative prayer. We don't wish, we don't hope, we don't lie asleep awake thinking, gosh, I wish something wonderful would happen to me. We create it, we choose it, we have to actually claim it as the possibility that we wish to manifest in our life. Because if we're standing in a kitchen with every ingredient in the world, but we don't pick them, and we don't mix them, and we don't bake them, and we don't create them, then all we are is standing in infinite possibility. No reality, just possibility. But we get to experience a reality of our choosing. Bake a cake, it didn't work out, toss it, start over again. Figure out what that one component is. The chicken bouillon in the key lime pie is not good, I can tell you that. You toss that and you create what you want. Abraham Hicks tells us that choosing what we think we want and it not working out is a great way to know what you don't want. It's a great way to find out, wow, I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy playing the victim in that relationship. I did not enjoy working in that environment that was demeaning or depressing. I did not enjoy that. I know what I didn't enjoy. Now I get to choose again. I stand in that vast open space of infinite possibility and I choose again. And that's what we're doing today in our vision workshop. But I of myself can do nothing. When we think of ourselves as separate, we actually are separate. And the other thing is when we're standing in that kitchen, we're throwing ingredients together, we can throw all kinds of stuff together. And if we don't know quite what we're doing, sometimes it really works out magically, right? I cook, sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's literally inedible. For Thanksgiving once, I made, and it was a giant size for a lot of people, I made a pumpkin cheesecake for the first time. And we all bit into it, and we're all eating it going, something's wrong with this cheesecake. There was no sugar. It really was the healthiest cheesecake on the planet. There was 0 sugar and it was inedible. You know, so sometimes a recipe is really helpful, right? sometimes a recipe is really helpful. And in this crazy little analogy that I'm using of being in this magnificent kitchen, a recipe would be not my will, but thy will. Not my will, but thy will. Where's the recipe? Where do we find thy will? What is thy? Who is the thy? God, the God of infinite possibility, the God in which all things are possible. But how is that God? If we believe that thy will is separate from my will, then we kind of are stuck. We're a little stuck. We've got to figure out how thy will becomes my will. Thy will is informing my will so that I am the owner, the holder of the recipe for something wonderful in my life. The cheesecake that has the sugar in it. We want the good stuff. We want all of it. So we open ourselves up to not only infinite possibility, but to the guidance of the possibilities that exist for us in a unique way that is our expression. That is our expression of good. It's going to look very different. Bruce's expression of good is going to look so different than mine. But when we're both guided and aligned by our sense of thy will, the highest will for myself, my highest self informing me, then I'm going to create something magical. I'm going to be directed to choose the ingredients that suit me, that fit me. And to jump out of that crazy analogy, remember the story I told that was about, I couldn't get into ministerial school. I couldn't even get my license back from, it was at Agape. And I wanted to get it back to the Centers for Spiritual Living, and all I heard was absolutely no, and no again, and no again. And then I would hear, you have to actually start all over. It was going to take you another 4 years before you even begin ministerial school. So it was a big fat door closed no, like no way. And I kept going. Because if my ego was involved, I would have said, oh, this is just terrible, forget it, this is a mistake, and I should go do something else. But being guided and directed, being open to spirit every day, completely open, I started doing things that were really uncomfortable, that I had no business doing. I created a website. I couldn't create a website. I literally could not create the website. I tried on Wix. Have you heard of that program, Wix? You're kind of laughing at me. Wix, yeah, that did not work. GoDaddy, they had a program where you could just create, and I didn't just want a blog. I probably could have created a blog, but I wanted the website. After a little bit of this, after it not working, and I'm only talking 3 or 4 weeks of reading how to create a website for dummies. Yeah, it was a great series, by the way. My sister's friend said, oh, you need to create I'll create a website for you for a nominal, and we're talking crazy nominal fee. If you've ever looked at my website, it's fantastic. I haven't been on it in a long time, but it's fantastic, right? Same with Meetup. I've never been to a Meetup. I'd never done a Meetup, but I was guided. I got an email out of the blue about Meetup, and I went and signed up for it, and I hit enter, and it said, whoosh, your Meetup has gone live. And I'm like, no, I just wanted to, I'm not ready. No, what are you doing? I am not ready for that. And it went live, and people are signing up, and not even a week went by, and people are emailing me, when are you going to have your first Meetup? When are you going to do this? What is this all about? Oh my goodness. It was like Spirit had an idea for me. It had a recipe. It asked me to do this and to do that, and then it gave me the way. So that's what I mean about the recipe. I didn't have to create a recipe out of the nothingness because I didn't know what to do. But it, the greater good, the infinite possibilities, our highest self, the all that there is, knows all that we need to know. And when we are open to it, it directs us and guides us to right where we need to be, to learn exactly what we need to learn, and to become that next step of our greatest expression. But the timing is we've got to take the time to be still, to be quiet, to acquire the vision. And then we can ask for that we stand in that, in our treatment, in our prayer. We stand in that place of accepting and embracing that highest good for ourselves. And we allow it to become attracted to us. We allow ourselves to be the open channel for the infinite good of the universe. It's when we align ourselves with divine will, the will of God, that we begin to experience the real synchronicities of life, where we're not working hard to make something happen. We are actually working intently. We are working focused. We are working excitedly. We are working happily. And one thing after another begins to unfold for us. The perfect meetings, the perfect relationships, the perfect people on the street who send us exactly what we need right when we needed it. And it sounds simple when we explain to somebody, but yeah, this person just offered to do my website. It was amazing. And they're like, well, yeah, what's so amazing about that? I mean, that's just normal stuff. But it's amazing when it keeps happening over and over and over again. That is when we know we're working from God's recipe. my kitchen analogy. From a greater recipe, from someone, from something, from that energy, from that highest place of good. So we don't have to create the recipe. This is where the practice of visioning comes in. Visioning is opening ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of spirit and allowing the possibilities that relate to our divine purpose to reveal themselves in our lives. And we're going to do some of that in our workshop. And visioning is a little different. Visioning is being open and letting go of our will. Because there are some times where we ask and pray for something that we want. It is our will, it is our desire. Hopefully, we have been informed by our highest self to ask for this will, for this thing, for this situation, this event to come forward in our lives. Because if we're not in alignment, we know plenty of people who get everything they ask for. They work hard, they stay intent. They absolutely know. They're in their kitchen and they're throwing stuff together and it's being made time after time. But they're still not happy. They're still not in love. They're not filled with joy. They're not excited. It just means they understand the law. They understand how to create in the kitchen, but they're not abiding by a greater vision. So when we open ourselves up to the greater vision, we are inspired to move into places we have never been before. And that's how you know if you're doing the same old thing, you're staring at the same old ingredients that you've had every single day, then you are blocking Spirit's expression of your highest good, because there's always something more, something greater. And if it doesn't look like more love, more joy, more peace, more prosperity, more health, more vitality and energy, then we're cooking off the wrong recipe. We're not cooking with gas. No. So we vision. We give the ego a break. We step into that space of quiet stillness. We allow that to inform us of all the ingredients that we need for the next step. So we're not cooking in chaos. We're not creating in chaos. We're not creating things that we got to throw away and throw away and throw away, and that didn't work. When we're still and we allow that highest vision to inform us, we're steadily walking towards more love and more joy and more prosperity. And it sounds simple because it is. Because it is. It's the doing of it that becomes hard, right? The actual stopping the ego, the actual finding the time to meditate. How many times do we hear, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to be still. I don't have time for that. But somehow we have time to make all this stuff and throw it all away and start making it all again. And we stay so busy in that ego mind that's always informing us. You got to do this. You got to get this done. You got to go back here. You got to fix that. You don't have time to sit still. And it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Because when we spend even just that little bit of time in spirit, in vision, then all the time we spend in doing is so gratifying. It's so rewarding, not just for us, for our families, for our friends. We become in alignment with God's will, the Spirit in us as us. And no longer do we say, thy will be done. We say, God as me is working in my life. God as me is showing up. And everyone around you will sense it and feel it. We become those places where people want, the people that people want to talk to. And they come to us with their problems. They come to us because they see something in us, that light, something that is working. Our life is working, and they say, I want my life to work like that. What are you doing? How are you doing that? And you're saying, I'm just still. I just take some time to be still. And to sense myself standing in the kingdom of infinite possibilities. And sometimes they won't understand that. You send them here. You bring them with you. February is Bring a Friend to Church month. So that'll be next month. All February we'll be doing that. Spirit is always urging us to become more whole, more peace, more love, more joy, more prosperity. As we become that, we become that influence in our families and our communities, and we become the place of spiritual healing on the planet. Ernest Holmes wrote, my spiritual vision is open. I am awake to greater possibilities. When we spend the time to wake up and stand in greater possibilities, we begin to see how they work in our lives. It's not out there. It's not up there. It's sometimes something we haven't imagined yet. And it comes to us in a conversation or a dream or a book. But we stand in it and we open ourselves up to infinite possibilities, knowing that we can create them in the situations in our lives that express them. We live them. It's not a concept. Seems to be my theme this week. It's not a concept, it's a reality. We awaken to more possibilities. Where we used to see a choice between having 2 jobs, which job should I take? Now we are open to more possibilities. It's not a choice between having 2 jobs. There are infinite choices to be made there when we open ourselves to see. When it becomes a choice between staying or going, all of a sudden we see possibilities that didn't exist before. And it's not just staying or going. There's other opportunities. There's other options to choose. That's how possibilities open up in our lives. It isn't all of a sudden a choice between this or that. It becomes wide open. And we do need to take the step to let go of the fear. The ego is the one that steps in and goes, oh no, oh, you couldn't possibly do that. Does anyone have that voice in their head? I have that voice. You couldn't possibly. It's like, oh, you just watch me. I'm gonna do it. I don't know how. I don't even know when. We don't have to know when. We can just stand in the idea that is a part of me. I allow it to come forth in my life at the perfect timing, the perfect place with the perfect people, and I allow it, I embrace it, I accept it, I invite it, and so it is. And we let it be. So I invite you to stay for our visioning workshop, where we are going to open ourselves up to a greater possibility in our lives. And we are going to put those words, those pictures, everything we want down on our vision boards. And we're going to watch 2017 explode with possibilities, with options, with choices that we couldn't see today. They're not available to us today, but we know that they're available in that infinite space where we open up and we allow ourselves to just be present and accept. And so it is.